Okay, so for my video lecture, I'm going to talk about a place I lived in 5th grade. My father was in the military, so I moved around a lot growing up, went to 9 different schools, and this is actually a place I remember the most because they actually bought the house instead of us just renting it. Um, and I guess it's the place that I'm the most familiar with from my childhood, that I was actually able to do for this project. So I'm going to show you my 3 drawings. Keep in mind I'm not an artist, so bear with me. I mentioned in my memory project how our plot was actually shaped kind of funky and weird, and our house even sat on even weirder. It broke our backyard into like 2 different parts. So you had like the patio door here, it came out into our in-ground pool, and then you had around in the side yard a jungle gym that had been left there by the previous owners, which was the only thing I was able to play on. And then you had like a couple horseshoe pits my parents put in there, and just maybe some cornhole if they were entertaining. We didn't really have much in there. The only plants we had were some palm trees and 2 sable palms, a small myrtle and a big myrtle, and a big oak tree in the front. Other than that, everything else was lawn. Basically a typical suburb. For my neighborhood, our neighborhood was centered around this lake in the middle. So here was the beginning. You came in, here's my house on like a half a cul-de-sac thing, kind of street. We have like 2 of them. And basically it's just all centered around this lake, which nobody even goes to because my mom said I couldn't because it's infringing on other people's privacies. I don't know. There was a park in the very back. Actually, it's kind of pathetic to be considered a park, because all it had was a jungle gym and a seesaw. But there weren't many kids in the neighborhood anyway. I know that I was the only one from my school, so I didn't really have a house to go down to and play at or stuff like that. All my friends lived in other complexes. I do remember one time that I mentioned in the memory project, my cousin came to visit and we went to the park, just to explore, and we decided we wanted to be adventurous, so we went into the woods in the forest, which is actually just this little section of trees in between like a bunch of housing complexes, which I guess like house the wildlife, I guess, when they tore down the other forest to build these. But I gotta say, that was so much fun playing in the forest and just going up mounds and like going through these trails and stuff, like so much more fun than I could have ever had on a jungle gym. I haven't been in Jacksonville for a while, so I don't really remember how it looks. So this is the image that I remember from being a 5th grader. I remember my dad worked at Naval Station Mayport, and I was along the beach. Here's the road that had just a bunch of housing complexes on it, and with my school at the end. A major factor in Jacksonville is the St. Johns River, which I think it runs through. I don't even know if I like drew this right, but I just know that it's so contaminated. Like, people don't swim in it because it's like gator infested up here and like shark infested down there, and it's just brown, it's just mucky. People don't want to even go near it. I guess maybe they'll go boating or fishing, I don't know. I remember going to the airport to pick up people, and there was a Dames Point Bridge. I remember this bridge because it was so massive and so beautiful. I just loved crossing it all the time. So I really liked that. I remember the Matthews Bridge that went into downtown near the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium and the Jacksonville Suns, and what else is downtown? I have no idea. I do mention in my memory project that I went down to the Landing once for a choir trip, and basically it's this place along the river. The only thing I really remember mentioned in dealing with the St. Johns River. It had some boats tied up to it, or yachts, and you could go like shopping or eat at some restaurants there. Nothing like really big. I mentioned in the video lecture that I really wish that we could do like they did to Lincoln, Nebraska with the St. Johns River, and like have a park along near it, like biking trails, stuff like that. I really think that the people of Jacksonville really enjoy it. I also mentioned how along my street they had just housing complex after housing complex, so there was no place for like kids to really go outside and play, and I think it really like made kids stay inside and do stuff like that. So if there was like a tennis court or a basketball court or a soccer field or something, it would help, you know, with the recreational activities and outdoor people getting in touch with nature. I also mentioned that in my housing complex, mine could just have been weird, but just that one park in the very back was, you know, not enough if they would have, you know, wanted families to live in there. So they should have had maybe a centralized park, or maybe like parks in different sections of the neighborhood. I'm not exactly sure like what you could do with how my neighborhood was landscaped, but they could have come up with something different, or maybe even had something better at the actual playground. But like I mentioned, like going in the forest, being an adventurist was way more fun than I could have ever had at any park. And that's basically what I talked about in my memory project. So I can't wait to see your guys's.